you ever seen 36 tattoo machines in one spot? They're all different, and I've been using them for the last 3 years. Actually, I've been using 42, but I gave some away and I sold some. Here are the 36 that remain of all the machines I've been using for the last 3 years, and I've learned a heck of a lot, and I can't wait to share it with you. But I'm not going to review all of them. I'm just going to review my favorite 6. 3 adjustable stroke machines and 3 fixed stroke machines. I'm going to pick my favorites, and then we're going to go over which one has the best budget, the best value, and which one is the artist choice. So I'm super excited because I've been planning this review for years. This is a huge comparison. You better stay tuned. Don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe. Let's do it. Okay, the first 3 machines we're going to review are non-adjustable stroke machines. That means all you really have to worry about when you're using them is what voltage you're at and your hand speed and all the other things, of course, but you don't have to worry about stroke length. This first one is the Nowta2. It's from Inkin, and it wins for best budget fixed stroke length. In my opinion, it's hard to find a good machine that's under $200. This one actually is $120, which I thought was amazing for its performance during my review. So what we're going to do is demonstrate a little bit on the silicone here with the Nowta2. For every machine, we are going to try a 3-round liner, a 9-round liner, a 14-round liner, a 14-round shader, and we can't forget to try curved mag. That's going to be a 23 curved mag. So kind of a good array of things to try it out with. And I'm calibrating off screen, so I'm going to try to use this strip of silicone to pull my best lines, and then we're going to compare my favorite 3. Again, this is the non-adjustable stroke. The Nowta2 is 3.5 millimeters. We're gonna pop on the 3-round liner. Notably, we have some great brands of needles here to try out today as well. I should mention I have InkClaw cartridges and police cartridges. First one up is this 3-round liner, InkClaw. The eyes light up. That's why I chose it, guys. No, I'm just kidding. On the Nowta2, we have the black steel floaty grip, our brand new floaty grip. To make it a little easier, I've created little sections on the silicone. So we're going to start with the Nowta2 here. Okay, so 7.5 volts at that 3-round liner. I turned it up now for the 9-round liner. This is 8 volts. Everything getting saturated with the Nowta2 so far. We should go to this 14-round liner. Both of those InkClaw cartridges. Now we have the 14-round liner in a police cartridge. I do love these cartridges. Okay, let's pull a line with the 14-round liner on the Nowta2 section here. To pull this line, I've chosen 8.3 volts. Still driving in that 14-round liner. Very nice. Let's give it a challenge now with the shader, 14-round shader. And all my cartridges have been fitting just fine. This one is an InkClaw cartridge. All of these are available in a link in the description below. They're all great cartridges. I do recommend these. Looking pretty good. I'm just going to go for it. We're at 8.5 volts. Let's go down here to the shader section. 8.5 volts coming down a little bit here. 7.5. Shading. And as you can see, all of that is getting in beautifully with just this $120 Nowta2. Moving on up to this 23 curve mag from Police Cartridge. All right, I found the voltage I like for this particular needle. I'm at 6.6 volts on the silicone. Come down a little bit here. Ooh, come a little over so I don't hit the camera. And a couple little tests of the mag on its side with the higher voltage. Back up to, let's see what I'm at, 8 volts on that one. Okay, so we did a little bit of everything with the Nowta2. It passed all the tests. So here you can see some really nice straight black lines in that mag when you turn it to the side. So for $120, the Nowta2 definitely is worth the money because it has a good motor on it. It's pretty cool looking and obviously it performs great. So that's the most important thing. If you're on a budget, this thing will still get the job done. You can afford it. 120 bucks, best budget. Bow, there it is. Okay, so for the next category of the fixed non-adjustable stroke length machines, I have the best value. And the one I chose for the best value, meaning the lowest cost with the best performance, is this Yilong F6. I chose the Yilong F6 as best value because it's $200, and for $200 you get a really short battery and a really lovely heavy grip that makes it easier to line and shade, even because it's at a 3.5 millimeter stroke. So it's not actually the highest stroke you can get, but that grip replaces the need for it and it becomes a good all-arounder. So I do think this is the best value for $200. Okay, I'm at 8 volts on this battery here from Yilong, and I'm gonna run the 3-round liner first. Really nice saturated lines there. I'm gonna put on this 9-round liner next. All right, got the 9-round liner. I just went up to an 8.1. Looking really good, really sharp with that 9-round liner and pulled super easily. All right, let's move on quickly now to the 14-round liner. Okay, I have this 14-round liner in. I'm just gonna go right next to the other ones. It came up just a little bit in voltage. I'm at an 8.2. I'm just going to switch over to the 14-round shader. Go up one more, just to 8.3. Okay, there's the 14 round liner and the 14 round shader with a little bit of shading right here. It's time for the curved mag. Okay, I'm at 7.3 volts with the 23 curved mag. And a little higher now. Woo! Okay, all cleaned up. You see all my marks here with the F6 performed beautifully. We'll go over comparisons later, but obviously the Yilong F6 is a wonderful, wonderful choice at $200. Link in the description below. All right, now that we're done with best value, we're gonna go on to artist choice. So with adjustable stroke machines, you can change your stroke. With non-adjustable stroke machines, you can't. You can only change your voltage. That means there may be times where you need more than one tattoo machine to get the job done. For my third pick, which is artist choice, I chose the Bishop liner. I use the Bishop liner a lot in my practice for large needle groupings. I feel like of all my liners, I feel like the Bishop liner at 5.0 millimeter stroke is the best for driving those larger needle groupings in. So I'm going to show that to you now. Just to be fair, we'll put the 3-round liner in the Bishop liner. I don't recommend using a 3-round liner in a 5mm stroke machine because it is a pretty heavy hitting machine, and a smaller needle, you're going to do a lot of damage. But for the interest of comparisons, we're going to just turn the voltage way down. I've got this Critical Connect Shorty battery on here. Okay, I'm all the way down to a 6.2, and I'm just going to pull a little bit of this 3-round liner. Again, not recommended to use a heavy hitting machine with really tiny needles. If you do, turn your voltage way down. All right, there's the 3-round liner. We'll get to those bigger needle groupings now, which will be a little more fun. Okay, the Bishop liner, 9 liner right here. We're at 7 volts. I'll skip right over to something even bigger, the 14 round liner. All right, the 14 round liner I have at just 7.2 volts. Really, really strong. I feel like this needle just drove in so well. We are now a 14 round shader. Same settings. Shading with the 5mm stroke is also not super recommended, as it can do more damage and shading requires a few more passes. But there you go, I just ran out of ink on this one, but beautiful, beautiful lining with these 14 round shader, no problem. We are going to try out the mag now and see how that works on the Bishop liner. Also not recommended to shade, but here we are. A little too heavy hitting, but oh yeah. Efficient. That was 6 volts. Not too bad, actually. You can see where that's skipping in that stroke length, but that is what the shader looks like with the Bishop at 6 volts. Let me just turn it up now. I'm gonna go up to 7. All right, we'll do a little side mag at 7 volts. So again, because the Bishop liner I can't live without in my studio, it wins for artist's choice of the non-adjustable stroke machines. It's time to move on now to adjustable stroke machines. So adjustable stroke machines are amazing. The reason why is because you can change the stroke length and the voltage, not just the voltage. So why is that important? Because when you're tattooing someone, there are going to be those times where your needle grouping is a little too high and you're not getting the punch that you need. Or that part of the skin just isn't letting you in. So you need the punch. Can't get the punch if you don't have the adjustable stroke length machine. Let's go over my first one. For best budget of the adjustable stroke machines that I've tried, I have to choose the Wormhole Orion Pro. The Wormhole Orion Pro is $150, which is a steal for how well it performs. Let's try it on the silicone. Okay, so we are, for the first line here in the 3-round liner on the Orion Pro, I'm running it at 3.3 stroke length because it is a smaller needle grouping, and I'm going to put this line in at 7.3 volts. Beautiful, nice and crisp, good control. And if I wanted to, I could punch it up to 3.5, but I don't feel like I need it on that 3-round liner. So I'm gonna move on to the 9-round liner. I expect that I might wanna punch it up a little bit to the 3.5 millimeter stroke. Okay guys, I have the 9-round liner in. I'm now at 7.5 volts, and so far I'm just staying right at 3.3 millimeter stroke. Great, it looks just as good as the 3 getting in, and I didn't even have to increase my stroke, but honestly, on human skin, you might find differences than the silicone, so it is wonderful that they have these options. 3.6, I would actually be able to pull a line on the silicone as well. It just does a little damage to the surface, so that is the difference. Let's go ahead and try something bigger and see if we need to go up in stroke a little bit. This machine's got quite a little motor on it. All right, I'm still at 7.5 volts. All I did was turn it up to 3.6 millimeters, and that is going to be a better setting for me to get this 14-round liner in the silicone. Obviously, it's working really well for the 14-round shader. I did accidentally put that in. You can see those lines are much thicker than they're supposed to be. Let me just go ahead and try that liner like I said I would. Same settings, no problem. Feels really good getting in. So again, no problem with that 14-round liner. I even felt like I probably could have gone down in stroke length on that one. This 14-round shader, though, for sure you'd want at 3.6. I think it's amazing, but you can actually line with this thing at 3.3 millimeter stroke, no problem. So again, just doing those circles now. So sorry for my error. So I repeated the 14-round shader here so you could see it in the proper part of the silicone. So there's my 14-round liner, 14-round shader. Everything's getting in beautifully, nice and crisp, really dark, amazing. Okay, so let's get the mag in there and try that on this Orion Pro. We are gonna probably drop it back down to 3.3 for shading here. All right, we have the machine at 3.3 millimeter stroke at 6.7 volts. Okay, so we have shaded with the Wormhole Orion Pro here, and I can tell you it feels very good for shading, and I have a lot of control in my stroke length, which I do like. I want to go up a little bit here, and we're going to try some lining. And lastly, I just turned it up to 3.6 millimeter stroke at 7 volts. So I was at 3.3 and this did not get in, so I know that that change in stroke length is helping punch these lines in. So beautiful, no problem. We can change your settings, and there they are. Beautiful. So for all of these reasons, the Wormhole Orion Pro is definitely the best on my list for your budget in the adjustable stroke options. Okay, the next award for adjustable stroke machine is for best value. And so for all those machines that I tried of the adjustable stroke machines, I found the best value to be this machine right here, the Big Wasp Z1. I'm also going to review a brother of this one coming soon that cost a little bit more. This one cost $250, so I feel like you get the best value for this machine. It has a very strong motor on it. It might not be as good as the more expensive one, but it is extremely good for the price. It is almost the same as the other one, which I'll get to in a minute. Without further ado, let me show you the Z1. It has these adjustable strokes going from 2.6 to 4. It has a battery. The battery that it uses is a standard vape battery, which is a plus. And first I'm going to put in the 3-round liner to test out this machine. I've got the pink floaty grip on this machine. It makes it really nice and comfy. Okay, so I ended up at 7 volts, and I'm just between 3.2 and 3.5 in the stroke length, because you can go in increments in between. Very nice, very, very precise, nice straight 3-round liner lines. Very good. All right, I have the 9-round liner on this Big Wasp pen here, the Z1, and I've changed it actually up to 3.5 millimeters for the stroke because it is a larger needle grouping, and I just feel like it's getting it in better at 7 volts. Looking good. Let's give it a challenge now with the 14-round liner. Okay, my favorite setting is 7 volts at 3 let's call it, there it is, between 3.5 and 3.8 right there on the machine. And this is for the 14-round liner line. One, two, three, beautiful, very saturated, very straight. Let's see how the 14-round shader does. All right, 7 volts with the 14-round shader, no changes. beautiful. Very nice performance with this 14 round shader, driving it in beautifully. That was in that in-between stroke length there, and I gotta say that looks really, really, really good. All right, I'm shading at the 3.5. I could shade at 3.3. It kind of just depends on what you're going for at the time. We're at 3.5, and we're just down at 6.8 volts. Just for comparison, I'm going to lower it halfway for stroke. Okay, so I ended up at a 3.2 for shading, which got me a little less of the skipping artifact you see in the shading down here. So I was able to clean that up no problem by just adjusting the stroke length, which you can do with this machine. Okay, I went back up to 3.5 at 7 volts for this long mag line here. As you can see, beautiful, beautiful mag lines with the Z1 as well. This adjustable stroke really helps me get the right line quality with that mag on the side. I know that I can adjust it more for shading, but if I'm going for that calligraphy, I really need something that can punch it in. So again, adjustable stroke seems to be great for that. Now that we're done with the Z1, I have to present to you my artist choice. So let's do it. Here it is, the Bronc V12. This is the artist choice. And why does it win artist choice for adjustable stroke? Well, I liked it so much, I had to actually buy another one because I just wanted it in black. Yes, that's right. I was sent this red one and I reviewed it and I love it, but I'm a little partial to black, so I went ahead and bought my own so I could use it a little happier in my studio. I like black. In all seriousness though, the V12 is my favorite adjustable stroke machine on this list. It is my choice because I feel like in my studio it performs the best for lining, particularly fine line. I get a lot of requests for fine line, and you need a machine that isn't going to hit too hard. So having that adjustable stroke is nice because you can bring it down for those smaller needle groupings. And then if you have a larger project, you can pump it up a notch or 2 or 3 in stroke and you will get the punch that you need. I've been using the V12 in my studio for a while now, and I keep coming back to it. And so that is why it is getting artist choice. So another thing that I love about this V12 is it's a little bit shorter than the Z1. The Z1, I really love this machine too, and it's great for the price point. But if I have to go best overall that I love, that's my choice. And if it's not about money, this one's for me. I feel like this creates more saturated lines because it's weighted just a little more at the tip and it's a little more comfortable to use for me. So without further ado, let me use this on the silicone. We'll start with the 3-round liner. Typically on skin with the 3-round liner, I run it between the 3.2 and the 3.5. Feels good. All right, I'm at 7 volts and we're gonna just pull a few lines. Okay, beautiful, nice, crisp lines and great control on this thing. We're gonna go to the 9-round liner. All these needles fit really well on this machine. On a 9-round liner, I typically go up to 3.5. All right, so with the 9-round liner, I'm gonna pull this line at 3.5 millimeters. I'm at 6.9 volts. Very nice 9-round liner. Let's put on that 14-round liner and see if we have to move it up a little in stroke. Okay, I'm at 7.1 volts, and I actually am still at 3.5 with this 14-round liner. Actually looks darker with this machine and thicker. It's definitely a 14-round liner. Yep. So I could go up in stroke just a little bit on this one to see if it makes an effect. Just a half a stop. Can I try that? Okay, very nice. Getting an even smoother. I felt like when I adjusted the stroke length halfway up from 3.5 to 3.8. So very nice, super versatile machine. Let me pull on the 14-round shader. That's a bigger needle grouping and should take a little more to drive in. For the 14-round shader, I'm actually up to a 3.8 millimeter stroke, still at 7 volts. Came down a few notches in voltage for these shading circles. Wow, really nice and crisp lines with this 14-round shader. I even feel like the diameter of the needle looks slightly larger, which just tells me that I'm getting better penetration with these needles. Okay, let's put on that 23 curved mag as well. We should come back down to 3.5 for shading. So this is 3.5 at 6.6 volts. You come down between 3.2 and 3.5. Do one more. Beautiful. So I don't know which one's my favorite, maybe 3.5 millimeter stroke on the shading for the Bronc V12, performing beautifully for shading though. Let me also try to do those calligraphy lines. All right, there I am between 3.8 and 3.5, and I'm at 7.2 volts. Beautiful. All right, so the mag on the side in the higher voltage with a little more punch, and you're getting really nice, crisp, black little lines for every needle in that mag. So very beautiful, super happy with the V12. That's why it's the artist pick. Okay, that was a lot of fun trying out all those machines on the silicone. In my opinion, they all did pass the silicone test. That's why they made the top 6. I wouldn't choose my favorite out of 42 if they wouldn't at least get through the silicone. Your price point is going to change what you can afford on this silicone. And what you need to keep in mind is that what you're willing to put in is probably what you're going to get out of it. If you don't want to spend as much money, that's fine too. We've tried to show you the best machines that you can get on a budget, but keep in mind you might have to move your hand a little more slowly and your work might just take a little bit longer. So these are the trade-offs of not spending a little bit extra money. Having said that, there are some very expensive brands out there that didn't pass the silicone test. And that's why I chose 6 that would pass the silicone test. So without further ado, let's look at each one and talk briefly about them. If you are on a budget, these are going to be your 2 choices. We have the non-adjustable stroke choice and the adjustable stroke choice. Maybe adjustable strokes is just too much for you and you just need it simplified, but you want to make sure you buy a machine that will actually work. The Nowta2 is probably your machine right here. Now, if you're willing to work with these adjustable stroke lengths, I do recommend this Wormhole Orion. I feel like the Wormhole Orion, if you just look at the two compared to each other on silicone, just looks a little bit cleaner and a little bit darker on the silicone, which tells me that it will get more ink into the skin. And so for that alone, I would, of these two, recommend the Orion. Next, we have the best value for your money. Now, again, we have the fixed and we have the adjustable stroke. The Yilong F6 is a very good machine, and so is the Z1. They're kind of hard to choose between. As far as the performance on the silicone, they're very, very similar. I would say that the Z1 maybe just has a little bit of an edge in regards to the round shader and the density of that. One thing I found with the non-adjustable stroke machines is sometimes the lines are a little bit lighter in the skin, and that does bother me because I want my lines to be as crisp as they can, because of course when your client heals, sometimes lines can lighten, so you want to get as much ink as you can. Saturation is so important. You can have a machine that can help you run a straight line, but if it's not saturated, who cares? The saturation is acceptable for these two machines here, but I would recommend the Z1 because it does have that adjustable stroke, and I just feel like that's better for punching in those larger needle groupings. Unless you really want a fixed stroke, then you could go for the Bishop liner to handle those bigger needle groupings, along with maybe the F6. Now, if you're curious about adjustable stroke, but you still want to have that direct drive-in, I again, artist choice, do recommend that Bishop liner. The Bishop liner, again, I've been using in my studio and it always performs well. I feel like it does the best with the larger needle groupings, and I typically do not pull it out for anything else but those things. So it's great for that specific task, and I know other people use it as an all-rounder, but for me, for my own comfort and because I do longer sessions where I'm going to be layering, I don't want to have that big hit all the time. So I'm going to pull out a different machine, or I could just use my adjustable stroke V12, which leads me to my favorite machine, artist choice, for the adjustable stroke machines, which is this Bronc V12. I feel like the Bronc V12 can handle all the needle groupings. It is a great all-arounder machine. It's extremely hard to find a machine that will do absolutely everything. So of course, I still recommend having a Bishop liner if you can afford it. So just looking here at the V12, I just want to point out how much thicker, for example, the round shader looks. I hope you guys can see that. If anything, I have to turn the machine down, which is good. That means that it can handle these larger needle groupings. If you're not utilizing those longer strokes all the time, that's probably a good thing, because they're really there for those larger needle groupings. Having said that, with the Bronc V12, I very much enjoy stipple shading with the 3-round liner, increasing the stroke a little bit just for that and getting a different effect to my stipple shading. Because I have that control with the V12, I do really like that machine. But I can see how some people would just maybe want to get used to the dot patterning based on a fixed stroke and just adjust their hand speed to their machine. So whatever machine you have, you're probably going to get the most comfortable with that one, and you won't really know what the next one is capable of unless you give up on that machine and just try a new one. You might never know what the potential of your line saturation could be and things like that. The reason I say that is because I was using a different machine for a while, and then when I jumped to the V12, I saw an obvious difference in the line saturation, and it made me want to just only use that machine for fine line work. If you want to get the V12 package and the next best thing, I recommend the Z1. That's going to be your best value. So I hope this comparison has been helpful for you guys. I've been planning it for a really long time. Everything you've seen in this video can be found in a link in the description below. Don't forget to like and subscribe while you're at it for more in the future, because I've got plans. All right, see you later.
Thank you. Bye.